Hello and welcome back everyone to Master Game Design, Unreal Engine 5 Stylized Environment and Third-Person Blueprint course. In the last lesson, we made quite a bit of a mess in regards to making collections. Now everything's floating. We don't really need them anymore, to be honest. We can just go ahead and delete them like so. And I'll just reposition everything in one order just to make it a little bit easier for ourselves. And these sections, they don't really matter to me as much. Just want to make sure that we clean up the place a little bit, basically, and I'll just place them around like this just so we could see what we have basically overall. So we have more of a square looking one. We have a small compact section of a collection. We have like a triangularized area. We have these two to help us build a blockades for our cities, or the area where we want to go basically. So now we're going to go ahead and make use out of them. If you remember previously, we talked a little bit in regards to setting up the blockades over here. So let's go ahead and go over them, and then we're going to simply finish off the design of the level. So first things first, I reckon we can just block it off over here. There is a bit I can see landscape forming on this edge, but I'm not too worried about that. I don't think it's going to be quite as visible if we place down this prop pack over here. Actually, I'm going to click cancel. And I just realized that the props are not selected actually. I'm going to go ahead and select it. So, and actor will be placed outside of the bounds of the current level. Click continue. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and do that, making sure that it is within the level itself though. And the props should be locked down actually. The harbor item should be locked down. Yeah, this looks quite alright. Okay. Just going to make sure that it's placed nicely. Something like this, just to block off the path a little bit. And I think that's going to be quite alright. You don't need to worry about it too much in regards to this section. I think it's going to be quite okay. Although, maybe we should put these in regards to like more like this. So it wouldn't look too closed off. And this would look a little bit better with the props just covering this area up. We can also put in a corner this section that we had previously for the triangle over here. There you go. We're just hiding this path away a little bit. And this looks much better. We're going to click 1 just to see how it looks like. And it's a bit hard to see, but it does help with the overall setup. The blue barrels, they're going to be more for this area over here, which I just realized we need to clean this up a little bit. Let's go ahead and do that. Going to select the water itself. Sorry, not the water, the layer itself. Going to then just grab this section properly over here with the flatten tool, just so we could like lower it down a little bit. And we'll need to unlock the persistent level like so, and just kind of lower this down a little bit, just so we could open up what's behind it. There you go. Nice and easy, super simple. All is good. All right, so we got it like so. This area over here, we could probably fix it, but I'm not sure if we need to. It really depends on the landscape texture that we're going to be using later down the line. Now everything looks quite all right. Let's go ahead and start placing the props. We need to make sure that we are in selection mode. We're going to start placing these blue barrels over here. Something like that. I'm worried that they're a bit too large in regards to the overall section, but they might be quite alright all in all. And I'll just place this next to the door, close to the door. Going to click 1, going to click G to make sure I hide the selection. Click and hold C while holding right mouse button to zoom in and see how this looks like. It seems to be floating. I'm not sure why that's the case. And it might be missing. I think it's actually missing the legs that we had. And yeah, I think I removed it and actually forgot about it. So it's actually quite an easy fix. All we got to do is just select the barrel. We're going to just lower this down, and I'm not even going to check through the side view. I can just do it like so manually myself, like that. And to close this down, and there you go. It's nicely on the ground. All right, so that is that. Going to look quite nicely over here. Let's go ahead and we blocked off this path as we talked previously. So this path over here needs to be blocked off. I'm going to just go ahead and do that. So for that, I'm just going to block it off like this, making sure that it doesn't look like it's just purely blocked off type of a path in a way that's like clustering the view too much, making it look like they might have been able to pass through, but it's not really the case. So making a sort of illusion. And that's when you got to be really careful with the invisible walls, especially since if we create a path that looks wide enough for you to pass, it might look unfair for people to not be able to pass through. But in this particular case, I think it's going to be quite all right. We might need to just bring it just a bit closer, just like that, and maybe even add this piece over here to kind of help us out a little bit with the illusion of the prop cluster in this section. I'm going to click C just to see how it looks like. Not going to see anything because of the boat. Going to actually hide. Maybe actually I'll just go over it a little bit closer and see how it looks like from this angle over here. And I think it looks quite okay. All right. So obviously we can go all the way around the building and whatnot. Ideally what we want to have is a sort of a blockade perhaps over here. Maybe like a rope or even just an invisible wall sometimes might help, or like a playable field where if you go outside of a zone, it would say something like you're outside of a playable field and it will phone you back in or something of that sort. But honestly, it really depends on the design of a level. Just showing this that you can't exactly get into this, access this area unless you pass through this section over here is more than enough in regards to the overall setting. So let's go ahead and check our stage we talked about before. So this is the one. We need to block off a couple of paths. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to start off by blocking off this staircase over here. We can either just use it like so and just kind of block it off maybe like this. I think that looks quite all right. It's a little bit off overall. But I think it's going to be quite okay. We can also place down a bunch of props over here just to make it look like it's just clustered down like so. And that's going to be quite all right in regards to that. So just making sure that it's not able to pass through, and that's quite all right. Okay, so the next part is going to be over here. Well, actually, we'll need to set up this part, but we're going to do that in a bit. I think we can just go ahead and place props all the way in here, and then we can also even go over the rooftops a little bit and check how these parts are going to look like with the placeables and just how you're able to jump on them and stuff. Again, let's go ahead and fix this section up a little bit. So maybe something like this and like this. And maybe something over here. It's looking like a pile of props. I think it's quite all right. Like that. And it's super nice and simple to do. And it gives us somewhat of a nice look. Just like that. And yeah, it's a nice way to block the area. All right, well, there you go. There is an exit over here. So we got to make sure we don't we fix that up. We can just probably rotate this around, go a little bit closer to this. Maybe add some props in the back just to make sure it doesn't look like just a single line. So, and yeah, there you go. Looks quite all right over here. The issue with this stairs, for example, you're able to jump over them and whatnot, but we're not going to worry about that too much. We're just making sure that it doesn't look like an easy to access area. Maybe I'll add another prop over here. I'm not going to worry about it actually too much. I'm going to continue on with this section over here. And then again, we'll need to set up the props for the upper roof. So yeah, let's go ahead and just get this first. I'm going to take off the blueprint class, making sure that this is ticked off, and just search for arc over here. And actually it shows me even the ones that I don't want. I'm going to go into Egyptian Harbor Pack, search for an arc, and place one right in this section. Maybe something like this over here. I might even just turn this around and make sure it looks something like this, or maybe a nicer one. Quite okay in this particular case. Yeah, I think that's quite all right. I might even grab a simple arc when it comes to this type of a look. Yeah, I think this is looking quite nice. I quite like this one. The reason being it looks quite narrow. Exactly what we want for this particular case. And we just need to make sure we set up some walls. I'm actually just going to grab one of the blocks over here from the side, which I'm not able to do right now. The reason being is that we are setting this up with the items. And yeah, we need to go back onto the harbor pack actually. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Going to unlock this, going to select this and right click and move it to the harbor items. This one, I'd prefer to keep it in the harbor items with all the level assets. So I'm just going to click move selected actors to the level, like so. And now this one is going to be part of it. So even if I hide the props, it's going to be still there. So that's quite nice. Going to go ahead and just grab this chunky block over here. Not going to worry too much about in regards to the overall setup. Too much. Just going to place certain blocks a little bit in regards to that. In regards to the overall setup. Something like that, perhaps. Let's put this on the other side as well. And just maybe put it more towards the middle, like so. Going to block this area off with our content. So Egyptian stylized props. Going to be within the meshes, and I'm just going to turn on a blueprint class, like so. And block off this area, just like that. And maybe like so. And yeah, that looks quite alright. Go ahead and keep it. Going to go ahead and click play. Let's see how this looks like. By the way, if you're wondering about freezing up, because it's simulating all the ships, we could probably hide them away during the testing phase if you want to avoid that. But usually when it loads up, it's going to be quite alright. And this actually is quite a bit too small. This arc, I'm not sure why that's the case. Going to make it quite a bit larger. Let's see if it works out now. Go ahead and click play. And yeah, it works out quite well. All right, I think that's okay. And a couple of props on the side when we were talking about in regards to the walls. Make sure to add them in like that a little bit. Or maybe corners. So maybe this corner over here would need like a prop like this. Going to be quite all right. And maybe like a corner over here as well. Might need a sort of a setup. Again, when we're working with this, we're not worrying about too much in regards to the gameplay itself. We're just making sure that the walls don't look quite as plain. The setup looks quite nicely. And this barrel is quite more luxurious one, but I'm still going to place it here. Quite like it, so I think one prop like that is going to be quite okay. This area over here maybe needs some props, and actually we're running out of time, so we're going to continue on with this in the next lesson. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in a bit.